All right, take two. So I'm not really good with cameras and all this, and my voice is not good. So when I get a hold of Lawrence Fishburne or Morgan Freeman or I don't know, maybe some chick or something to do a voice dub over, and I'll have photos and links and videos inside what I'm talking about, slideshows and everything, the whole kit and caboodle for you, so that you are more entertained than just listening to me talk. I'm sorry if it's annoying or whatever, but I will try to provide some information, at least for right now, so that you can prepare yourself. So, who am I? And I will start to get into the first part of like my history and then how I came to know about this stuff. So I'm a peace activist, environmental activist, political activist. I've been involved in lots of volunteer work, uh, book clubs. I have a group called Green Evolution. I'm trying to do sustainable off-grid communities for organic health food, teaching people how to create their own electricity, everything, gardening, permaculture. I've been involved with Occupy movement. I had a Twitter hashtag called HQ Occupy, which got censored and taken offline. I was a part of Operation Empire State Rebellion against the World Bank, which is kind of like the preamble of what started to go against the system after I had left USA. I'm living as an expat. I do web design. I can do full responsive websites. If you need a website, I can try to work out something cheap for you. Full responsive, all designed for your phone, laptop, whatever. WordPress, Joomla, CMS, CSS3, HTML5, I can do all that. Starting also web phone apps. So that's a little bit about me. I'm from USA. I have German ancestry on one side and French ancestry on the other side. My mother's side is French and my dad's side is German. Well, my paternal dad or my caretaker father, not my biological father, because this is where, I don't know if you noticed, but the Da Vinci Code, yeah, it's coming back again. We got Dan Brown's new film coming out. I'm not trying to promote some of that stuff. Is a little bit not telling you enough, but it's leading into part of like I'm giving you access now to information that's been concealed and you haven't been allowed to talk about it. You haven't been allowed to understand it because it is so dangerous. It could take down the entire Archon system and the Freemasonic whatever TI. I'm gonna use TI after these words for whatever MK Ultra triggers there are. So if you hear me say TI, I'm trying to warn you. So spell it backwards or do it inverse, whatever. So Dan Brown's got a new film. I think it just came out yesterday, Inferno. And so we go back to the Da Vinci Code and the uproar it caused with the church and the Catholics and all these people talking about Jesus and his wife before and all this stuff. And that plays a large part of what's been going on in our genetic history. That's all been manipulated by these master archons and other races. Let's say the pre-race that was here before and then they left, according to the tablets of Mesopotamia, the Babylonian kingdoms, the Sumerian, Assyrian kingdoms. Sumer was a kingdom called, under Gilgamesh tablets, the Sumerian Anunnaki. Now this group claims to be gods, and they said that they created mankind and that the Garden of Eden was started in the Euphrates, around that area in the basin. and from there they taught mankind like all these skills like agriculture and all these things and genetics, and they started playing around and making the different groups that you know today. The Asians, Africans, Caucasians are all mixed together breeds from supposedly these gods, but they are, in my opinion, they're from the parallel, what I said, the unseen world, which actually can be seen, because CERN in Switzerland is a large hydrogen collider, an octagon shaped collider, which has successfully, according to what I've witnessed and had experience with now, has opened a portal. And people can debate this all they want. You can see over the sky many photos of this has been evidence, and people inside the project have blown the whistle. Physicists inside the CERN project have blown the whistle and said that they need to stop because they already have relocated maybe close to 50% of the people on the planet. Now you might not think you're in a different dimension or something like this, and what does this all have to do with this whole thing? It is that these archons are trying to now create a mega ritual. We are living in a ritual. Everything around you is a ritual. You just don't know it, you don't see it, you don't understand it, because it is a magical spell. Like Disney have subliminal codes, this NLP, this programming all over the place, and all these groups from World War II, from the Nazis, everybody has been using these codes. So sorry to jump around, I forgot to go into my ancestry, but to tie it together, basically these archons have been around, and my family has been fighting them for a long time. I have been persecuted, my genetic history has been persecuted and slaughtered by these groups for a long time. I am what they call snake food. There is a long history of my family being slaughtered by these people. Some groups, Arabs call them jinn, other groups call them demons in the Christian church or whatever. These people are bloodthirsty, and they've caused many wars, and they've caused my family to force relocated so many times throughout history. My family from the French side is connected to the Huguenots, who were slaughtered in France. They were descendant from the Cathars. The René Lechateau Albigensian crusade was a purging of my ancestry, and they threw my ancestors off of the castle walls in France for the Huguenots, and they burned them alive. They technically said that we were heretics because we didn't believe in Jesus as God. We believed in the Creator as God, and the Creator of all of everything before anyone said they were creators, and this was heretical to the church. So we had many wars. They were also ancestry linked to the Guelphs and the Ghibelline wars in the Papal States of Rome. They were relocated also in Germany on my father's side. They were Bessarabian Germans who would lead caravans into the southern Black Sea part of the Caspian Sea, the Black Sea near Ukraine and the border of Russia, the Crimean area, these areas. They were farmers. They would basically kind of work foot to mouth like, any other groups. So then the Nazis came, and they were relocated into Nazi camps. I believe they tried to kill some of my family and realized that our genetic history was something very important for Mengele's experiments. And that's why, in my opinion, that's why the Thule and Vril Society, the occult esoteric part of the Nazis, why they used the symbolism and the hidden parts. Now, I'm not saying what they were doing was evil, but I'm saying that the underlying basis of the groups that were manipulating the movement of the Germans during World War II were manipulating it because there was an occult underground circles inside called the Thule Society, called the Vril Society, and they were manipulating to create this sort of genetic research project that was in line with other groups who are trying to take control. And I think they've successfully had some power and part of controlling some of the aspects that are going on right now. So sorry if I'm going too fast. So basically, if you know about Da Vinci Code and all this stuff, they're talking about the Sangreal line, this bloodline. Well, I'm a part of that bloodline. Merovingian is the genetic mtDNA link between all of the groups, the Picts, the royal families, the Windsors, all of the European royal families, all of this Asian royal families are all linked through my genetic background. So the Merovingians have been persecuted for a long time because they claim that we are like basically evil or something, like because we don't believe in God the way they want you to believe in God and all these things. So we've been persecuted for a long time. Now the supernatural things that maybe people experience with my family or whatever, I think is maybe a protection, and it's part of a curse that's been going on since Adam and Eve, about what had happened in my genetic history and my ancestry for a long time. So what happened basically, from what I'm trying to put together and pull apart these hidden parts of history, are the Adam and Eve. Now if you read the Sumerian groups and in the stories of Lilith, basically they were part of a breeding program. And what had happened is, I believe that people had in the future developed time travel. Maybe they were nanotechnology, artificial intelligence, or they were other advanced races. They went back and then they started manipulating from a long time, giving technology to certain groups, i.e. the Draconians, these Rh negative, I believe O negative, who are able to shapeshift. Now you might think this is crazy and blah blah blah, okay, but these groups have been controlling and bloodthirsty for a long time, and part of the reason is because they are possessed by archons. They have like been linked with them for so long, they have to drink blood. This stuff is real, like they actually have to like consume bodies or blood in order to stay in their normal genetic state. Now I don't want to start a fight with them, but this is becoming a problem because actually there's not enough resources for them and us to live together, and it pretty much seems like they destroy everything that they come into contact with because they become greedy, and their genetic codes change all the time because, like any animal in history, genetically evolves by eating its own species, has gene mutations from eating itself basically, and these gene mutations cause it to evolve. So then they eat more and more and they think that it's going to stop them from changing, but it doesn't. And this is part of the problem of what's going on now with these persecutions that are going on, is that there is groups out there who are doing this. Now the Da Vinci Code and everything is partially true, and now there's a good documentary by Chats Frats. He's got a YouTube channel and he's talking about the Order of Octagon and the Cthulhu and the Nazis and the Templars and all this stuff. So I'm sorry for using these trigger words, but it's gonna happen. So I'm gonna continue that in the next one because this is run out. So check out his channel. It's very full of evidence of some underlying manipulations and part of the battle between the royals and us.